Right, apologies.
Yes, so we've had apologies from Councillor Gillam, who has got a work meeting, Councillor Martin, who has got some major refurbishment going on and will have some late installations this evening, Councillor Weaver, who is currently unwell, and Councillor Canfield is sitting in for him.
Thank you. Declarations of interest, I've got one. In respect of the allotment item, my wife's got an allotment at South Harpenden. Any others? Okay. Right. Chairman's report and urgent items. I don't have anything.
No, nothing from the Chair.
Public questions? None?
Again, none received.
Okay. Minutes. We'll set. Oh, look, two are here. Are we okay with the minutes? No comments? Come on, you. Oh, dear.
You and Daniel will do.
Yeah, Dan was here. That's all. So, are we happy with the minutes?
You are? Wrong answer. Sorry, yes, I'm ecstatic. Overcome with contentment.
Good.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay. Right, so we're on to item 6, takes 3 to 4, the forward plan for this committee. Does anybody have any comments on that, or can we just note it?
Yes, with the memorial benches under July, I was at first a little bit sorry. Anyway, he died. Then when I was just the officer, I thought we'd declare a moratorium on memorial benches because they're somewhat cluttering the place up some time ago.
Yes, we definitely do.
I think I vaguely remember that, yes.
So, is this a proposal not to moratorium?
So essentially, it will be looking at the current arrangements that we have in place to see whether we want to change those essentially, because a lot of the benches that we do have around at the moment are in a bad state of repair.
Oh, I see.
And
so maybe giving a sort of limited edition chance to buy your deceased loved one a bench to replace the one that's
potentially exactly that, yeah, and sort of restating our position on it really that we've had in the past, so that we can find it, because it's been a fair while since we last looked at it. And having done a street furniture audit, there's quite a few benches that have come up that are in need of a bit of TLC. So we just, rather than do it on the street furniture item, we thought we'd bring it back under the memorial benches.
Okay. I do remember that moratorium. I do remember that, yes. Okay, any other points on this one? Okay, can we just note that then? Thank you. Right. On to officers' reports. First one of these starting at page 5, the allotment of repairs and maintenance. And this is a long story, isn't it? We've been trying to sort out who does what and who's responsible for what at the two allotment sites. I think this is basically where we've got to, isn't it? Do you want to talk us through it? I mean, we're all ready.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chair. So it's kind of been a long journey in trying to get some of the responsibilities sorted out. And Councillor Lineker, as the Chair of the Allotments Working Party, has been at the front of a lot of those discussions that we've had over the last 12 months. So this just restates the position that we shared with you last time, which has been agreed. So it's noting the responsibilities from this committee, but also we're asking you to approve a one-off additional release of earmark reserves of £6,000 for 18-19 to top up our existing budget. We've identified a number of, Society South Harpenden and East Harpenden has identified a number of priority works, around about 70 pieces of priority works that they would like to be taken care of next year. 70, yeah. And so the current repairs and maintenance budget is at £6,000.
Stretch that far.
Yeah, so we're looking at a one-off to kind of do as much work as we can to get the allotment sites in a good position, so that future years it's just a case of the 6,000 that we have should be more than enough to keep things ticking over.
Okay. When do we sort of get to a kind of like a datum point? You know, we say, right, we've caught up to this point, right, and this is our starting point for the future.
So I think that would be pretty much after the next financial year. So the allotments working party will have a report out to them tomorrow that sets out our response to all of the works that were put forward. And should the committee tonight approve that additional spend, we'll be able to do more of that work. That should get us to a good starting point for future years. We need to get rid of some of the backlog of works, really, that for one reason or another hasn't been dealt with.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think it would go a long way to, repair relationships, but it's not that at all. But it would go a long way to cementing the new arrangements. So we're being supportive as much as we can.
Okay.
Yeah, for mine, I'll echo that one. It very much is sort of, not quite the right phrase, but there is some confidence to restore, and I think that perhaps the new arrangements have concerned some, particularly on the financial side of things, and the fact that we're keeping up with doing what they see as being our responsibility, despite the fact that we've got the new contract.
Yeah.
Do we have, while we're discussing, do we have any examples of some of these priority projects?
Yeah.
Can
So
you think of any off the cuff?
yeah. So a large number of them are actually clearance work. So clearing plots where, for really many years, they've just been left to overgrow, particularly with brambles and other things. And they've got to the point now where it's a lot of the societies can't manage them or can't put in volunteer time to get them to a manageable level. So there's lots of those works. There is lots of removing mounds. There's some stuff around. There's quite a lot around fencing. So again, one of the areas that hasn't had much attention is fencing. From our perspective, it's in the trustee agreement, so that it's not our responsibility. So we haven't funded that over the years. But at the same time, it's quite a costly thing to do, and so the trustees haven't been able to fund that either. So there's many metres of fencing that need to be done as well. And then there's various other slightly different requests, such as trying to renew or put in place an old well that was down at Riverside allotments that we're looking into at the moment. So that type of things that have come forward.
Okay. So this is going to be a one-off?
Yes, of course, yeah, we can't.
We're not going to keep doing this?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or input from anybody? Okay. So, recommendations 2.1. We're asked to note the progress made and approve the release of 6,000 earmarked reserves to provide one-off additional funds to carry out repairs and maintenance work in the next financial year. That's good. All in favour? Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay, now on to 7.2, Harpenden Farmers Market. Well, the market seems to be going quite well, doesn't it? I gather we've got 70 stalls at the moment. And what we're being asked to do here is to raise some funds to replace some damaged stalls and set up some new ones, 12 of them. I don't have an issue with that at all, but I just wondered about the locations that we've looked at. I mean, the diagonal road across Church Green would appear to be the absolutely ideal slot, but it says there are considerable concerns regarding loss of parking space and the impact on the community. So yes, there are some, but this is on a Sunday, isn't it? What community facilities?
It's mainly the two churches.
The churches. Okay. Right. Bowers Parade. Significant concerns regarding traffic management and small community service facilities.
Facilities management are actually a lot of residents live there. I think if you barred access or made access very difficult, considering a lot more people in the areas once you get past the ship shop in there and all. But yes,
Sky is roughly.
yeah, once you get past Godfrey, it's
Chris.
very, very dense residential. Maybe there's actually some empty that would be suitable. I think really, Chairman, that the recommendation of the officers is that the best of a not bad bunch, but best of a difficult bunch.
Yeah, because it is some distance, isn't it, away from. So it'd be interesting to see whether anybody actually uses it. But okay. All right. So 71 stalls already, and break even at 51. And so we should make some more money with a bit of luck, which is good. As well as providing a more, more stalls, more choice, bigger market. Sounds like a good idea to me.
Well, I just had one from Fletcher.
Yeah,
So we meet monthly with independent businesses, and we had the meeting last night actually. One of the things we discussed with them was around the farmers market expansion, and independent businesses are really supportive of that. And they're really supportive of anything that actually extends people travelling through town, if you like, rather than keeping them in one location. So the options that we put forward to them got their support as well last night.
That's good. Okay, any other comments they want to make? Okay, we'll move to the recommendations then. So approve the release of 5905 for the damaged stalls, expansion by up to 12 stalls located as stated, and then approve the release of £4194 to purchase the extra 12 stalls, and note the branding update. What was that? What was that branding update?
So the branding update, at your last meeting you considered some different options for logos and branding of the farmers market, and off the back of that you asked us to go away and carry out a survey. So we're still carrying out that survey with traders and people that are visiting, and we'll come back in the future with a preferred view on that.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Okay, so everybody okay with the recommendations? Thank you very much. Anyone else? 7.3, Harpenden Common Management Plan. Now we had a look at this last time, didn't we?
You did, sure, yeah.
We had a good run through this night. It was all quite favourably received and commented upon. So what are we doing this time? Some amendments highlighted in yellow.
Chair, is it worth me just giving a really quick?
I think so, yeah.
You saw the draft version last time. At that
Yep.
point, we asked you to release that to go to further kind of engagement with the community.
Yep.
We had the documents available in the town hall downstairs. We did lots of promotion across social media. We had a survey running. We had lots of people kind of come in and engage with the management plan itself. We had a small number of people complete the survey. And off the back of all that, along with sending it out to some of our key partners again, such as the Wildlife Trust, we've made some amendments, small amendments to the management plan that you saw last time, and they are highlighted throughout the report. It's worth adding that one particular thing there was around, I know Councillor Miles had a concern of it last time around woodland and scrub clearance and the potential of losing significant and important trees. And so we just reiterated the point in there that this committee would be considering any work to trees that are important before any work was to go ahead. So hopefully that helps to satisfy that. But otherwise, there's other points within there that are clarifying what we're doing. It has got the support of the Wildlife Trust. It's got the support of the Ecology Group, which is a group of local people that are experts in their field. So hopefully we agree it's a strong document and allows us to keep going on the path that we've gone. Actually, there is one more thing. The other concern you raised was around the green flag, and I think there was a concern that applying for green flag status was driving how we managed the plan rather than actually the other way around. So again, speaking to colleagues downstairs, it's absolutely clear that the green flag application fits with what we're doing.
Right.
However, if it comes to a point where the green flag wants us to do something that we're not happy with doing on our asset, at that point we'd have to consider whether the green flag application would be right for us.
Right.
But certainly it isn't driving what we do at the moment.
Okay.
It's complementary.
Can we just, in a couple of sentences, explain the significance of the green flag, why we do it,
Yeah.
why it's a good thing?
So the green flag is essentially an accreditation scheme.
Yeah.
So it's good because it shows that we've met a certain quality mark.
Okay.
We've had it for a number of years, so that shows that we're consistent over that time. So
Yeah.
it's really a quality accreditation.
Okay. All right. Any comments? I think Nicola just was first.
It was really about drainage and what improvements.
Sorry, drainage.
Drainage, well, and car
Oh,
park.
right.
Because that's been a long-standing issue, many years. I don't think we've got it right yet.
Yeah. So are you talking about the bit as you come off onto the actual common, one way, or is the?
It can get like an absolute quagmire from where you go in from the 1081 all the way down towards Ponds.
Yeah. The two things that I know we are looking at. Firstly is as you, where we've had vehicles that have been going on the common for a number of years, fun fairs, that as you get off the car park onto the common, that needs rebuilding. We've got plans to rebuild that next year.
Okay.
We've also looking to increase, to rebuild the mounds along the side.
Yes.
Because the one on the left-hand side as you go in is, it's kind of worn away.
Yeah.
So again, we're looking to build that up as a way of encouraging water to flow down again. But those are the two main things that I know about that we're doing at the moment.
Okay.
I can certainly speak to Julie and see what else there is.
I think we need to keep it.
Under review.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, fair enough. Right, Danny.
Yes. Unsurprisingly, my comments are about environmental conservation. So I think most of my comments at this stage will be directed towards 26 and 28. But I'll focus on 28. So we've got on the fourth paragraph, the big one, first big paragraph.
Is this big page 28?
Yeah. Sorry, little page 28, big page 44.
Oh, right. Big page 44. Yep, okay.
There is mention of habitat pile. I'm disappointed to see that this red term has snuck its way back into town council document. It's certainly not the town clerk's fault. His predecessor was careful after councillors were robust, and then the public were robust about saying we didn't want them. A habitat pile, so those are aware, is not a neatly stacked pile of logs that can decompose and be a good home for mini bees and things like that. It's where you get more like the smaller twigs, brush and scrub, put in what looks like a really ugly stook. And quite frankly, it just looks a mess when we've seen photos in other places, particularly not Bricket Wood, somewhere else in the county anyway, on their common. We took the view that we didn't want them in Harpenden, and I would want to strike out habitat piles should be stacked away from open ground and piled no more than. Sorry, habitat piles should be created where woodland work takes place. No, I think that's really poor. So I don't want that. With the committee's leave, we've got a few amendment proposals. Fair enough with the dead wood length should be stacked. That's good forestry. But habitat piles, I mean, in itself, it's a modern, cuddly idea that, as much as I like reading Brambley Hedge and Foxton Tales, it's not quite, animals are not going to say, oh look, the human with the little habitat pile, let's move in. I hear they've got an offer on them, that kind of thing. It's not the way it works. It's just a little bit childish. But by all means, stack the proper wood there. That's good. It doesn't look so meaning, and everybody knows about that. So, the next thing was where you've got the mini paragraph there, 3 lines. Management on the margins of the woodland should aim both to prevent scrub, yes, encroachment into grassland, yeah, sort of, okay, particularly with the acid grassland. I think that's the most important aspect of our common. I'll come on to that. But again, something that I've learned to really my ears prick up, I hear this term, to soften the edges and provide a graded transition to the grassland habitats where possible. A wide 5 to 10 metre ecotone. I've noticed the use of ecotone, which is clearly made to sort of blind us to the science. It's a non-word, ecotone. It's again one of these things that we all know what it means, but it's been invented to mean something less sinister, or to sound less sinister. I'm against this paragraph. I want it struck out. We've done this before, where we've had councillors go up with the then Mayor, Councillor Burt Paul, and have to actually step in to prevent mature oak trees on the edges of the golf course being cut down. This is a get-out clause for things like what Harpenden understandably branded the Harpenden Chainsaw Massacre. Personally, I think we could say it says where necessary and that we'll get all tree works coming in. To me, that isn't a strong enough defence. My duty as a town councillor is to make sure that every defence is there for the common and the way people like it. And I think this is something that could justify works that will understandably distress, annoy and anger residents of Harpenden. So I want that whole paragraph will certainly be softened, basically, I want a full stop after encroachment into grassland and then cut out everything afterwards. So but also to a wide ecotone be cut out. The other point here is this, underneath that, the next paragraph, following the restoration of the apple tree area next to St John's Wood, the grassland should continue, yes it should continue, etc, etc. Calling it the restoration of the apple tree area is a mickey take, quite frankly, of the residents of East Common. And though East Common is in Harpenden South, that was the so-called Chainsaw Massacre. It was very badly done, poorly, and I think, quite frankly, that's something that the town council admitted to at the time. Poorly trained, poorly instructed contractors basically took a chainsaw to it one afternoon, and it was appalling. It was almost enough to make you weep. They cut down 100-year-old cherry trees that had stood there for ages. Calling it a restoration is rubbing the noses in people who... There were some people who ran out and shouted at them to stop, which is how we saved some of them. Literally, they were going to cut down the whole thing. I don't think we should have that. I think it's the kind of backside covering PR phrase that our officers and this body we're better than that.
How about replanting? Because we've got these grants, haven't we? Or some sort of. I remember reading something about going up there and aren't we going to restore these Hertfordshire varieties of apples and all that stuff? I can't remember the exact detail of it.
Really, that's the thing.
We did have, we were given some money to do that.
We haven't done it yet.
We haven't done it, no.
You haven't done it yet?
I don't want to sound, I'm going to say lots of positive things at the moment, but I just think it's a little bit, it was a deeply distressing episode, I think, actually. I mean, literally, we have members of the public in tears. I'm very glad I didn't get hold of the site board. I would have absolutely throttled them. They basically took completely untrained manual labour, said, here's a chainsaw, son, off you go. It's awful. One of the biggest cock-ups we've had in my time as a councillor in terms of common management.
All right, so what's being suggested?
So I think, Chair, is it just Councillor Miles taking away the following the restoration of the apple tree bit?
Yeah.
Do we just want to say the area next to St John's Wood, the grassland should continue to be maintained?
I think it is. I think if you say it's intended to enhance the apple tree area by planting, if it's true about them planting it or trying to encourage local species of apple, that's a positive thing to say. I think we should include that instead.
I mean, there's an apple tree book. I think that somebody wrote, if I remember correctly, with all these varieties of apple trees, and we were going to plant some of them up there. I don't know if that's happened or not.
I'll have to get an update on that, Chair.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not 100%. I know we've done a lot of planting since I've been here. I couldn't be 100% say that it's been in that area, but I know we've planted in other areas where we've had trees left to us.
Yeah, there's some sort of grant or some sort of... Can you remember that?
I was thinking of the Applegate, but I can't remember the grant to be honest.
There's definitely some money or something was given to us. I can't remember.
I'll look into that.
All right, we'll have to look into that. All right.
The next part is on 44, crossing over into 45, the golf course. I think it's really good the way we're focusing on Hertfordshire, and Hertfordshire Heath is, along with our native chalk streams, one of the most endangered habitats in our country. And I think we've got a lot to be proud of as a council. Officers should be, should burnish their CVs with pride, particularly over the high level stewardship areas. We're inches away from being a triple SSI in some areas, particularly the area towards Limerick Road, that sort of triangle down there in Little Lane. That's really impressive. We've had orchids, we've had long-eared orchids and other kinds, and also heather. So I think that acid grassland is really important. I can't help, as the years have gone by, whenever I see this about the golf course though, feel a sense of disquiet when I consider that all other parts of the common, we managed within an inch of its life. We're putting semi-hard standing, whatever we're going to call it, on some of the rides to make it accessible. I feel like the woodland areas are under siege from a certain type of academic at Wildlife Trust. I get that. That's a discussion that perhaps I'm not always qualified to have, but I was elected to try and represent the layperson's opinion. What I have to say, though, and it's controversial, is I do think it sits ill with me when we're learning more and more about the importance of acid grassland, but we've got a whacking great golf course that's manicured to an inch there. And the other thing that really bothers me is that golf course has put its fees up and up and up over the years. I'm not breaking any secrets to say that a normal member's annual fee is well over £1,000. Now, that last one I looked at was a few years ago. So unless they've cut them back dramatically, I can imagine it's gone up. Now, if you want to join a members' dining club in, doors away from St James's Palace, I can tell you now you will pay less than you will for Harpenden Golf Club. The other thing here is, most people don't have the money for either of those things. I don't, and I appreciate that, Town Council golf enthusiast, but there are lots of golf courses around, and I'm getting a growing feeling of disquiet. The more and more we learn about the common, the more and more good we're doing, that actually we're limiting areas for things that benefit everyone, that benefit our environment and our planet, to support what is essentially a private business that charges fees for membership which are way beyond the scope of most normal people who have an income and family responsibilities and other things like that. Sorry to introduce a slightly Corbynite term, but I'm not suggesting anything to happen. It's just quiet that I wanted to put on record as a member of the council. Okay.
I would tell you that they do work very closely with Julie. A lot of discussion about what goes on there. They're very careful. And I think they're very supportive of the common plan generally.
Chair, the only thing I would add to that, following from Councillor Lineker, is that the Trust the Wildlife Trust have a living landscape policy, and the key part of that is the approach to golf courses. And they quite often report back to us that across Hertfordshire and Middlesex, the Common Golf Club are a leading light in their sector in terms of looking after the precious space they have got. So I understand Councillor Chisholm's concerns, but I think what we have got is one that actually takes it seriously. And if I compare it to my own golf club, which is also in Middlesex, they don't do a percentage of the things that the Common do here, and they've got such just as precious areas as well. And so I'm personally trying to get them to do more, but I understand the comments, but I think they do well in comparison to others. But there's always more that can be done.
It's good to receive that assurance.
What's the subscription there?
Whereabouts?
Yeah, your club.
At mine, so mine is £1,200 a year. Yeah. And that's pretty cheap actually for that sort of area. So typically around Hertfordshire you would expect to pay between 12 and 1,500.
So, okay. So, I mean, we don't know what their current fees are, but they sound to be in line, we would expect.
Yeah, they will be, yeah. They'll be in line. I mean, of course, within that they've got different tiers and you can buy different types of memberships and that sort of stuff. But you know, they're broadly in line. I think if it helps some reassurance as well, through the lease and license that we got with the golf club, we do look at their prices and monitor them, and they do put requests forward to us to consider that, because it's part of the lease and license. So should there be a point where there's an outrageous increase that we wouldn't be happy with, then we would have the opportunity to challenge that, which I think is a good thing.
Okay.
Coming on that one side, there is a public perception over there that both the golf club and the cricket club are wrong, actually. I remember back to when we did the pitch, the level pitch on the cricket club. Lots of complaints from colleagues at that time that they could no longer afford to take their kids to what they call village green for cricket. It disappeared and became a league. So it's something that we need to bear in mind along the way, sort of echoing and supporting what Andrew said there. We have to be very, very careful with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd say I'm not an enemy of the golf club. Certainly not the cricket club. And the cricket club, I think the problem more there is you can't have a bish bash on the common. It is county level. There are some people there who've gone on to first class cricket, but yeah, I'm a big supporter of both of them. I think the more and more we're finding out about these things, the more and more I think we should be maximising every inch of space that's a grass and we've got. Does that need to be put to a vote to make the amendments I suggested?
Don't know.
No, it doesn't have to, Chair. I mean, unless there's any concerns with those, I'm happy with making those changes and removing them.
I don't have any objections. Does anybody else?
So you'd essentially be approving the common management plan, given the changes that Councillor Smiles has put forward.
Yeah. Any other points on that management plan? Okay, so let's come back to it. So what are we doing? Noting and accepting the amendments highlighted in yellow, and approving the new management plan for Harpenden Common to cover the period 2018 to 2023 with the amendments just suggested. Is that okay? Everybody all right with that? Yeah. All in favour? Noted and approved. Thank you. I think we're on to page 73. Agenda item 7.4. Celebrating the 25th anniversary of Park Hall.
It's all right, in total breath, is it that long?
Well, can you remember it or something?
Probably so.
Okay. So it's thought that we should commemorate this in some way with a commemorative plaque, an exhibition, and a drawing competition. So what do we think about this one?
Nothing.
Like it?
All three? Do all three?
That's what the budget pricing for.
Well, I was thinking that we came to 11.50, but gosh, do all three. I'm sorry, I think it's a bit of overkill too. Park Hall, 25 years. But it's a bit Eeyore about this one.
Yeah, actually, no, you mentioned a plaque for 1,000 people. Some kind of an exhibition would be nice.
Yes.
Like, this is the way education was.
If I could just add one
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
on the plaque, Chair, or on the report. When you first saw this report in 2017 sometime, it probably had a list of about 20 ideas, and quite rightly at that point you asked us to go away and narrow those down into these ones that we've got now. In terms of the plaque, one of the reasons why we feel like it's a good idea is because actually what we're trying to do is recognise the role that the Town Council has played since taking on Park Hall, given the state that it was received by the Town Council and the money and time and TLC that's put into it. So as you see from the examples which are in the appendix, we're specifically referencing on the plaque that it's been refurbished by the Town Council, just to give that emphasis to it. So that was one of the reasons why we felt it was important to celebrate the role that the Town Council has had in more recent years on it.
Where would you go ahead with these? Which one of these signs would you have?
So that's, I mean, we'd be keen to get your views on them now, actually. So there's two examples that we had that we've actually lined up.
The text is the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
The text is, yeah.
I think the one on the left is clearer.
Yeah. So what I can say about both of them actually, so they are a combination, obviously we recognise Park Hall anyway, but the pictures are actually photographs that we've, History Society have of children playing outside the hall many years ago. So the brief that we were given to the designers to come up with this was to combine the kind of the look of the hall with those previous images. So that's why you've got the children playing from the days when it was a school.
I think the children look clearer and nicer. Stuff on the left one.
Is there any reason why we've gone from a modern day picture of Park Hall as opposed to what it was then?
I think we would just there's probably no real reason behind that. I think more than just that's what it looks like now. So it's combining what it looks like now with a bit about the history with the children and the fact it was a school.
Or is it that the designer is going to put an old-fashioned looking thing at Park Hall, but just wanted to whack a Photoshop into this to get it? Approximation.
Well, this is what it was. This is what the mock-up is supposed to be. I mean, if you would like an older image, then we could look for that. But really, this was just an indication of what we were thinking and the location that we were thinking on the front of Park Hall.
Well, it's sort of been restored to how it is, isn't it?
I think we see it every day as it is. For me, from a historical perspective, I prefer to see what it looked like back in the day.
What did it look like?
There are pictures about. I mean, its form wasn't any different, but obviously the doors and that are different. Certainly, saying that, I mean, looking at it, I doubt that there's much change other than the doors, but those are the modern doors that we've got there now, rather than what it was like when it was at school.
Okay. So there have been basically different doors, is that what you're saying?
Well, that's certainly from, without having done the research into it, that's from memory. I'm just trying to picture, it's one of the books.
Yeah, I mean, they will be different doors because of, partly because that was some disability access on them, they would have been changed. In terms of the three ideas put forward, if my own view is that if there was to be one that's longer lasting, then the plaque is more of a longer lasting tribute to the 25 years. The exhibition is fairly straightforward thing to do. The drawing competition is probably if you're asking me my priorities, then that would be the lowest priority to do, given the amount of competitions that we run anyway.
And offers the time.
And offers the time. Being really selfish there.
So take out competition.
Yeah.
So plaque now.
Do we involve, by taking those sort of things out, do we lose any involvement by current schools or education? In general, I mean, the link through from Park Hall to the current reopened school through to Manly, its history is quite intriguing. And it's the sort of thing that it would be an opportunity to make contact with the school community, particularly the primary.
That's true.
Yeah, I think we could do that through the exhibition. The exhibition would be a good way of doing that. We wouldn't necessarily need the drawing competition to do that.
And also, schools do get really fed up of being asked to do extra work.
I certainly like to see it as the sort of thing that's open and they're encouraged to come and do.
Yeah.
Right. So what we're saying then, drop the drawing competition, have an exhibition for the Princess on £50, and do the commemorative plaque. And look into your idea about the old building. Okay.
That's when the research is done with regard to pulling up the bits of the exhibition.
How it looked before.
It'll come then. I don't know.
Right.
I can't think. I've got one in the archive. I don't know. Let's have a look.
Okay. So, right. So we're going to look into the park. But we're planning to do a plaque. It's just the finer points of the design of it. Yeah. We're going to do a little exhibition, but not do the drawing competition. Yes.
Sounds fine to me.
Does that sound all right? And so that, I'll just do the arithmetic. So if we knock off £100, that's so we're approving 1050 budgetary provision. Yes. Okay. All in favour? Thank you. Next one, 7.5, page 81. Update on the various projects. So we'll start with the bullet rooms. 15th of March start of...
Yes, Chair. So and they're making really good progress. So if you drive past, you'll see the huge drill that's in there. And having gone down on site today, if I could show you a video now, I would. Actually, where they're drilling on one hole, on a neighbouring area, there is some water flow that isn't normally there. And I haven't checked that with the experts because they haven't been in, but for me, certainly it never used to flow in the spot that I saw it flowing today. So that's a really positive sign.
Yeah. The interesting thing is they're going down 60 metres, and I knew it would be a big piece of kit because we're doing, housing department are doing garage site redevelopment in Sandridge, St Leonard's Crescent, where they've decided to drill the foundations down 20 metres because they think there are some voids down there, and the piece of equipment was as high as this building. It's huge. It's more complicated, I suppose, for that project because they're pumping concrete in and putting in reinforcing bars, whereas these guys are just drilling a hole, aren't they? Or are they putting in reinforcing?
No, they're not reinforcing as such. They're just so they drill down a big metal pole and then release that one and then drill down another one, so you constantly get into the lower levels.
Do they leave the? But when they've done it, what's to stop the holes?
Yeah, so it's then it's cased.
Oh, it's cased.
Yes, it's
okay.
encased. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, and I think you need people who know what they're doing with this kind of stuff because it's very heavy. And, if it's anywhere near the riverbank, unless it's reinforced.
Absolutely.
Put the tune of the Yellow Rose of Texas in my head.
Okay, all right, so they commence work, finish in April. So that sounds good. Okay. Bradford Nature Reserve Centre, formerly known as the Bradford Springs Volunteers HQ.
So just
It was a slightly preposterous title, isn't it? HQ.
Yeah. So we've changed that to Nature Reserve Centre. The only quick update on that one is that actually all the work, external work is now complete. So we're due to hand over at any time, kind of a soft handover to the volunteers, and we're going to be having an open day launch in May, where we're going to run lots of different activities and link that into some of the work that we're having to do with Boardwalk, which you'll see later on, where we've got to build up some community support for that.
Okay, excellent. It's good to get that done. The air raid shelters.
Paul looks very fashionable to me. Just one thing, there's no comment about the interpretation board of the article.
Yeah. So in terms of interpretation boards, we have commissioned someone to develop the content. So we're going to have the content taken from the History Society. A lady who's done some of our own interpretation boards is going to develop the content for us. We've ordered 2 of the lecterns. We're not putting one on the Queen's Road site that we talked about before. So last time we talked about this, we're putting one on the Bowers Parade and putting one over on Leighton Green. And what they will do is there will be kind of half and half. So half of it will be general information about air raid shelters in Harpenden, and the other half will be about that particular site that they're at. So it's along the same lines that you asked us to do in the past. So that's progressing nicely, and that will be, well, it's all been designed, that'll be ready to go probably before the air raid shelters are filled in. Because we're just, as it says here, we're waiting on the planning guys to give us the confirmation on that.
Okay. All right. Good. Now the boardwalk and reclaiming habitat, which we've got quite a bit of stuff we haven't designed.
Yes, Chair. I mean, this is the main part of this report, really, and that's
Yeah.
getting you to sign off on the design and the layout of the boardwalk itself.
And just give us a bit of background on the thinking behind this. I know we've looked at it before, but
Yeah.
the idea is basically.
So the idea is it's part of the management or development plan for Batford Springs, which this committee has approved. The idea is that this area is currently publicly accessible. I mean, you can go in it, but you're not meant to. But the boardwalk will enable people to walk around the part of the reserve alongside the chalk screens that they can't currently access.
Yep.
There'll be a bridge built at the other end, so you can clearly kind of flow around it. There'll be passing points. There'll be interpretation boards. So any residents can go and have a look, but also we'll be encouraging schools throughout the outdoor education to go out there and experience the nature reserve. So it's the next step essentially in promoting and really showcasing what an amazing nature reserve we've got.
And the Springs volunteers will have been involved in all this as well.
They are, yeah. So as ever, it's a partnership project. We're working very closely with them at the moment on the funding side of things, because this will require us to apply for external funding, which we're doing through Veolia. And yesterday we passed through the stage 1 of their funding application, which is good news. We've got stage 2 application going in about 2 months' time.
And roughly how much is it going to cost?
So this in total is going to be about a £90,000 project. We've got a figure of £25,000 in our budget, so we are looking at grant funding all of the rest of it.
Okay, and we're reasonably optimistic that the grants are available for this type of stuff.
Yeah, we think that the only one is a good way forward for us, and as I say, we got through the stage 1, which is fairly straightforward, and it gives us a chance to really have a go. The stage 2, of which we'll know the answer, yes or no, on the 4th of September. So we'll know whether we've got all the funding then. Essentially, if we don't get the funding, then the project won't go ahead, because it's a huge gap for the town council to plug.
Anybody have any comments on this, on the design or anything else?
I think it's really positive. I think it'd be a wonderful addition down there.
Yeah. But you can't really get into it, can you? I mean, you've got the footpath along here, and some of the chalk stream areas sort of like overgrown, isn't it? And all of it, as far as I can see.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be good. So are we basically okay with that? Or we'll come back to the recommendations in a minute. Alright, move on. Pathway improvement. Certainly the one across Leighton Green is very smart, I think.
Yes.
It's very well done. Yeah, any comments on that?
The surface of one of the paths, the one that goes towards Sainsbury's, not the one that goes towards Crowgate, was looking a little bit rougher than I'd hoped very quickly after it was laid. I don't know
Okay.
It might be worth another quick look at it just to see whether it's settling or what it is.
Yeah, you can tell.
We can certainly have a look at that.
Because the one across Leighton Road is really good. So
Yeah.
that one didn't look quite as
It's very
good.
good. Alright, financial implications, we've covered that. So does anybody have any further comments, or can we go to the recommendations? Okay, so 2.1.1, note progress and plan future activities for each project. 2.1.2, approve the design of the boardwalk reef and habitat as set out in paragraphs 3.11 to 3.17. All okay? Thank you.
Next to that one.
Sorry?
So the next one looks amazing.
Right. 7.6, tree and asset management. So we'll track the trees. Trees stop and other assets as required. I think we're almost like basically stock control systems now.
Yeah, that's correct, Chair. So essentially, rather than do it by paper, as we do now, we've purchased a digital mapping system that does a lot of the work for us. So the key thing we have to do, and we may well have to buy in some data entry time from a tenant, is just to punch everything we've got at the moment into the system, because the system's only as good as once you've got it up populated. So this was just to update you and remind you that we've got the system. We're working to get it all up to speed in the next 6 months, so that it will then generate everything that we need. It's generate, tell us when things need doing, what needs doing, and all that sort of stuff. So,
And if we've got all this data, have we? So somebody isn't going to have to go around and treat
so yeah, so we've got the vast majority of the data, but what it will do is once we've got it all on the system, it will highlight where the gaps are as well. So we are quite often going around and mapping different things, less so with trees, because trees we're on top of. But street furniture, for example, was a really good one that we've actually, up until recently, didn't really have a log of everything we did have, which links back to that benches question earlier on. So this is it's trees, but it's also asset management, so everything that we own is mapped on this system.
Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Good. Any comments on that, or can we just note it? Okay, noted. Thank you very much. Okay, 7.7. Harpenden Lions Club Interpretation Board. Okay, so the plan is to allow them to install this next to the wall by Lloyd's Bank. Any comments on this one? Daniel?
These are lovely ideas, particularly commemorating the Vulcans. My only worry is, and I want to just say yes to this in the first place, but I'll say yes. But does it not risk opening the floodgates to other organisations celebrating similar amounts of time, like the Round Table and the Rotary Club, from asking for similar boards up? It's sort of, where do you draw the line? And I hate having to say that, because I do love them all. They provide the Highland gathering. They're, a very friendly, hard-working, amazing group of people. But it is a question I feel has been asked.
In answer to that one, I'd say that 3.1 probably answers why it's a one-off. Stalwart member of Harpenden as he was one of the originals that came up and had the idea of the interpretation panel for Harpenden Town Centre in the first place, the ones that we've got there now. We could rely on that one. It could be our point when somebody says, well, we want one, and they say, well, no, sorry, you can't, because...
Unless you raise 250,000.
Yeah. Yes, I think, you know, as long as people are prepared to explain why it's all right, that's a good idea. And maybe, I think something that has to be included though, the design's very much up to them, but it absolutely has to include not just their history, but a lot about the Highland Gathering, including, you know, photos from very old Highland Gathering. Because that actually is what makes them special as apart from other organisations, of which, you know, Harpenden might be a national branch, and that's the Harpenden Lions really are the driving force behind an event which is the biggest of its kind outside of Scotland.
It is, without a doubt.
And that again, I think really strengthens the reason.
Okay. All right, so any other thoughts, or can we approve that as per 2.1? Okay.